Welcome, welcome. Hello, Yasin. Yes, been waiting for this. This has been in the process of basically making a new low, and I just wanted to confirm that that's what we're about to see. I'm getting the feeling that that's what's happening now. So just give me a few moments while I just set up a couple of things here in preparation for this stream. Okay, so we are heading for the lows. I just need to prepare something. So I didn't expect it to happen this quickly, but I think I know why this is happening the way it is. So I thought I'd share it here first, simply because we can do a live one here. I find it easier. All right. Just waiting for some more people to enter the room, and I'm just saving some settings. All right, so let's go to the control room and let's get it cracking. All right, welcome E. Coli. How you doing? Welcome, Joshua. Good morning. Come on, 27 cents. That's right. We're very close now to seeing the lows broken, and I'll give you an update on the count in just a moment. Just preparing my chart because I've been away doing some other things during this, and I did not expect this type of wave 4, which is very interesting in and of itself, and it's due to alternation. So I'll explain that in just a moment. So if it drops 27,300, I have 35K. Is this enough? It's up to you. Whatever your risk portfolio looks like, your whatever you're willing to invest, basically. I'm going to explain a couple of things in a minute that'll help certain people understand different points of confirmation if you want to scale in, rather than simply just going all in. It's up to you on how confident you are in the waves. If you're a member, then you'll understand what that means a little bit more compared to non-members who may just be trying to understand what's going on at all, really, and that's going to be key here. Right. So I suppose what I'll do now is I'll just share my screen just so we can get started. All right. So right here, right now, the only important thing to note, let's just go to the 1 hour for a second. Now, I know this looks like a big jumble of stuff on here, so I'm going to try and clean it up a bit for you. I suppose this line can go. And right. So this being an ending diagonal, starting from the end of wave 4, right? I've got a couple of extra lines in here, which I'm just going to get rid of because they do not really help at this point, apart from previously instructing you the kind of pattern we're seeing. So to me, it's more about wave 4 ended up here, right? So basically anything that popped out of this triangle was wave 5 ending diagonal, right? Type 1 ending diagonal, right? That's why it looks choppy like the way it is. So this is key. This is the key component here in all this, is that wave 4 ended at a retest of the triangle, right? So therefore, we need to basically zone in on a couple of areas here. So I'm just going to get rid of a couple of just extra stuff that I'm seeing here that is not necessary before we go in. So this is a C wave. Once this C wave completes, right, this will take us to make new highs, right, to break above all-time highs. Right now, we don't know the kind of expanded type of zigzag this will be, right? But everything here points to an expanded either type 1 or type 2 zigzag. We don't know yet. So for the members who are tuning in, you will know what I'm talking about in terms of expanded. We don't know yet. We can't know until we break the highs. Okay. So let's just focus now on this particular move down at the lows. So I believe I've cleaned up enough here to show you this, what I'm about to show you. So wave 1 was a zigzag, which means this is an ending diagonal. Wave 2 was fairly large. Wave 3 was a pretty straightforward 3-wave move. So therefore, what I'm seeing here, it can be either one of two things. Now, at the moment, it's pointing towards it being wave 5, right? And the reason for that is because of the internals of this wave 4 here. So normally, like if you look at this particular type of pattern down here, and I'll zoom in to the 5-minute, right? So look at that wave 4, that move that gapped up there, right? To me, that's a wave E. Okay, so basically because of alternation, wave 2 being fairly large, wave 4 is short and sharp, right? And then now we're seeing a zigzag. So what I'm expecting this zigzag to do, and I believe the zigzag started at the highs here. So this is basically going to be a confirmation point right here. So let me get rid of this line here. This is also not necessary. So basically this is a confirmation line. Now, normally I use this particular pattern in to mark a break of an important level, which will confirm what do you call it, a reversal, right? So there could be one of two things going on here, and it all depends on what your knowledge of this wave here is. Okay, so it takes particular knowledge like RES wave to understand this particular pattern, right? To confirm, to sort of give you more of a clue that what you're looking at is a sharp wave 4 because of alternation and because it's a type 1 ending diagonal. So automatically, if you're looking at this as a type 1 ending diagonal, you've already seen wave 4 go into the price territory of wave 1 and 2, right? It went back and overlapped, but it found it as resistance, right? So to me, I had to look closer at this pattern in here, which I was looking at it from the start, and it gave me an interesting feeling. I thought, well, if this was going to go any higher in wave 4, then it would have done so pretty quick, right? But then I started to look closely at this pattern. So if we go to the 1 minute chart here, okay, the first thing I can see here, right, straight up is a zigzag. And then another zigzag, followed by a weak wave C, followed by a D wave, and then finally an E wave. Okay. So the pattern still is still in there, right? Now, whether or not this is a type 2, is it type 2? I can't remember. Basically, when the market actually, to be honest with you, it almost looks like, yeah, it looks like a type 1. That particular move there looks like it's moving up in 3 waves. So it was a weak wave because the last move there was a zigzag. So you can see there, zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. So to me, okay, it's A, B, C, D, E, and that was the last move. That's why it gapped up. And it's almost like, because it's like, you know, like when you're talking about, I've heard this a lot in Elliott wave terms. When the 5th wave is exhausted, it gaps up, right? Now, in Arias wave, the correction also has 5 waves in it, okay? So to me, if you're talking about the last wave being exhausted, then that would be the E wave, right? So it's a wave 3 in there. And I don't see any other wave that matches this length at the beginning here. I don't count this as a 5 wave move because that cannot be a complete correction. You get me? So we're using the process of elimination here to understand that potentially, most likely, wave 4 ended at this high. And it was short and sharp due to the alternation with wave 2. So that means that this here is, wave A, right? Wave A. Okay, sorry, let me get this right for a sec. Wave A. And what we've seen here is basically a wave B that ended here, like so. Okay. Like so. So that means that we need to see the similar, this same length from here to here. And that's what we're seeing now. Okay. That's what we're seeing now. This cannot be longer than wave 3. So if we go back for 1 second, take a step back, right? Does that look like it's going to be longer than wave 3? No. Cannot be any longer than wave 3. That's going to be the first clue, and it's dropping straight through. I'm going to get triggered into a buy any moment now, right? Because that's the deal here. Okay, that's the deal. I've explained it in Arias wave terms right now live. Hi, Matthew. Welcome to the live stream. NY6N Kool-Aid. Yeah, don't drink that. Welcome, Jose. Jose, welcome in. Now that we're in 27 cents, any clue how long this may go? Well, basically, I've just explained to you exactly what's going on. So you should be able to understand that this will crack the low. And the first confirmation is wave A, wave C. So basically, I'll put in the wave C now. Wave C will be similar in length to wave A. Okay, so that's the first clue. It'll be a zigzag, right? So to some people, this might look like a wave three. So maybe 1, 2, 3, except they haven't looked at the picture beforehand, not pulling apart the waves the way that Arias wave allows you to do, right? So basically, what that means is that this will crack the lows, go beneath it. People might short it, God knows where. They'd put their stop, or God knows when, how much of their portfolio they'll sell. But the very first confirmation of this should be a break of this high here, 30 cents. But in doing so, it should happen in a very sharp manner, right? It should happen like basically straight up to break that high, because that's wave 4, right? Of an ending diagonal pattern. Okay, so now that we have wave 3 and 4 in place according to this particular count, right? Now you can start to put in some trend lines, right? So assume that this here is the first move, the first trend line in a wedge. And then, and mind you, they're never perfect, right? These are only guides. You have your end of wave 2 to your wave 4, okay? Like so. So basically, this is considered overthrow, right? Overthrow, panic selling. But the interesting thing to me here will be that once it breaks the lows, it's going to just create the little mini wave 4, and then the wave 5 will go down, and then people will think that this is going to continue lower, and then it'll reverse back up. So what gives me the clue to this? Well, it's the whole pattern. It's the whole fact, it's not fact. Nothing's factual until it's proven, right? But the first point of confirmation will be that high there at the end of wave 4. The second confirmation will be at the previous break of the previous wave 4, right, of wave C. So this is a larger degree wave 4. This is a smaller degree wave 4 of wave 5. So technically, this should be the last move down before we basically make a reversal. So I've explained to you just before why I believe that's a wave 4, right? That does not look like a 5-wave move. That's a 5-wave move. That's an E. I can see definitely alternation between these two patterns in a wedge-shaped formation with a zigzag incoming that's going to be shorter than this than wave 3, right? It has to be shorter than wave 3 here, right? Because it cannot be, wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave because it's already shorter than wave 1, right? Wave 1 back here, okay? So that just means, hang on, let me just make these straight lines so we can make it all nice and neat, right? So because wave 2 was expanded, wave 4 was short and sharp, right? That's alternation, okay? And that means that the final move down should be a zigzag that ends roughly around, it could be 26 cents, could be, roughly the same length as wave A from that point there. So basically, to me, it's like you can buy at the low, which is the safest option. You can go a bit lower than that, but what's a couple of cents when I told you to get out at around 40, roughly between 35 and 40 cents? I said this is going down to 27 cents. What's a couple of cents? It doesn't matter. All right, welcome quarter. Right, welcome. Okay, so basically Matthew there, he's one of my members, been following this closely with me, and you know, he was pretty savvy with you know, indicating that something is moving, that it's moving lower. And it just goes to show that, you know, my members are engaged, they're learning, and you know, these things take time, but at the end of the day, you know, you just got to make sense of it all, right? And you got to use your logic. The more knowledge you have, the more confidence you're going to have in what you're doing, right? It's as simple as that. So then we're going to expect wave 5 down like that, and it's going to be shorter than wave 3. And that's like a wedge pattern, right? With a bit of overthrow, because we're using the wave 1, end of wave 1 and end of wave 3. So it's already hit its target, but the target is the low and the overthrow is the length of wave A. So to me, this makes perfect sense in every single way so far. And just because it's getting sharper, it's just panic selling. A lot of people who decided to go long, probably a lot of times during this, since May the 24th, I think it was, a lot of people who decided to go long have gone long many times in anticipation of higher prices. However, they were always let down. And then once we got down to a point where it was the last opportunity to go high in their own mind, they basically get that move that stops out all the bigger traders who have longer stops. So keep an eye out for this next move, because it's going to be very important to see a break of not only wave 4, but also the wave B in here, right? So there's various levels of confirmation that we're going to see happen in order to help ease our mind, give you peace of mind, help you understand what's going on with every wave, right? So at the end of the day, this is in progress. So I'm about to get basically tripped into this trade. So I don't think it's, I don't know if it's happened yet. It depends on the USDT chart, XLM USDT, depending what you use to trade. Yeah, so this is happening right now, right in front of our eyes. All right, I got the premium going back again on the trading view, because it looks like it's going to be time to get pretty serious with some new ideas and bring in some pretty cool new updates soon. So we'll get into that shortly. Yeah, so just not quite there yet. Still haven't broke the lows. So So because we're seeing this happen live, to me, it's just about basically explaining what I've basically explained already, which is the pattern. What we can expect in terms of length, similar to wave A. You know, people are just getting a bit excited now. So this is normal. The pattern itself, to me, it gives away all the clues, right? Because if I didn't see certain patterns occur, then it's very hard to get that basically that peace of mind that you get when you understand the pattern, right? I mean, for anybody to think this is going lower, right? How can such a weak move from a wave 4 turn into a drop that goes lower, like when it's so weak like this, right? You know, take away the labels for a moment, right? And to just looking at this chart naked, right? I mean, to me, it looks like if I didn't know the waves, I'd say, oh, we're going lower. You know, we better sell. We're moving into wave 3. This is going to be deep. This is going to be sharp. Right? Turn on the RSI. And I can actually see that wave 3 was the sharpest move down. It was the lowest point on the chart, right? Down there, right? And basically it's already showing divergence, right? You've got higher highs on the RSI, and you're basically just barely trying to make that last low, because that's just the way the waves work. You need that last low. Now, in terms of length of wave 5 compared to wave 4, that's something that we should look at, right? So we'll turn on the waves again, right? So total length of wave 1 is up here, obviously. Total length of wave 5 would be basically the low, which is, to me, it looks very similar in length. It's weaker. RSI's showing divergence. The pattern has been analyzed along the way, and you've seen those ideas being put out slowly, mostly accurate, especially after this C wave was confirmed. And then we started to see the D wave. We tracked the D wave. The initial move is always going to be a little bit funky, right? But it's this move here where we identified the B that made us understand that this was a C, right? Without identifying that as a B, you can't identify that as a C. So you might think, if you're an Elliotician, you see this thing going up with a gap in the middle, which was, to me, very strange the way this pattern unfolded, but whatever, right? The point is that, look, it's come all the way back down and it never continued higher. So a lot of people out there who have been doubting my work since the highs there, since the 40-cent area, I think it's becoming quite clear now with the evidence that this is in a process of producing a bottom. So BTC, XRP, yes. Okay, so if you want to look at them separately, right? Thank you, Ecolo, for mentioning those ones. So XRP itself is in a downtrend. This one does not show any weakness at all, in my opinion, compared to what we're seeing in, well, actually, it's a different pattern. It's a different pattern. So what I'm seeing here is still an ongoing corrective zigzag pattern, right? Because I believe in the long term, right, this XRP is going to basically create what I call a type 2, no, is it type 1 weak wave E, right? So that is basically moving down in zigzags, right? So this thing will, I believe this thing will grind, just grind down until we hit that that dotted line. So to me, I don't touch XRP. I believe the D wave ended up here, right? Just quickly going back through that quickly. I believe that we had the B wave. So we had a 1, A, B, C, D, E, and we're in E wave now. But it's not going to be going straight down in a straight line. I don't believe that's going to happen, right? I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to basically just grind, 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 right? So on that front, I really haven't changed my view. If you're looking at BTC, to me, that's the beginning of wave. That's wave 1 of a wave C down. So 1 and 2, right? So let's just go back to that. Don't know if you've seen my previous idea on that, but I did say the wave E was up here. Well, actually, I moved that label not long ago. But the confirmation that wave 3 is in progress on BTC, in my opinion, will be a break of this low here, right? So I just think that that was a wave E. So that's A, B, C, D, E, right? And now we're moving down in wave 3 for Bitcoin, and it's getting sharper. So I believe it's a different pattern, right? It's a completely different pattern. And this is the thing I try to explain to people, and they want to, I understand that Bitcoiners are especially, bullish, if you could put it that way. But we have seen an A and B here, right? We have seen an A and B, and this is part of a wave 2 correction, right? So wave 1 having ended up here, this is A, B, C coming down. So you might be thinking, well, why do you think that XLM is going to go up and BTC is going to keep going down? So this is the classic argument that I get. Well, number one, let's just quickly go back to the XLM pattern. Let's use the STR USDT chart as an example because it has data that goes back further. Now, one thing I can't confirm here is if this candle beneath the beginning is correct or whether there's missing data here on this chart, but I count this as a 1, A, B, C, and we're in a wave D, right? We're in a wave D right now. So we've seen the first part of this A wave, right? And now we're in a wave D, right? So the wave D is going to be the most expanded wave in this move, right? So as I've shown you, the pattern is different in XLM that it is in like Bitcoin, where it looks like it's just a wave 2 compared to, well, we're in a wave D here. Wave B happened early on in XLM, right? And it's a different pattern. It's a wave D. Now, to add even more to that, it's the XLM BTC chart, which to me is the crux of this whole thing, right? XLM against BTC. Okay. So in Arius Waveland, right, this is an A at the lows, right? So let's just get rid of this for a second, right? So this is support at the bottom, that line down here, right? So this is part of a zigzag that's going up, right? A zigzag, right? So A wave occurred down here, and then we had the B wave. So basically all the strength that BTC had over XLM ended, at the end of 2020. Okay, and then from that point on, XLM had started to gain more strength over BTC, but it's only just getting started, right? So this is the part where it's not just about the XLM USD chart. It's about understanding Arius wave and how it applies to the XLM BTC chart, right? So if you go to the 1 hour on the XLM BTC chart, right? I have explained many times in my videos that we are seeing a wave C here, right, as well, right? We saw the B wave since the lows. I'll just go back to the 4 hour for a sec. Okay, we have seen a B wave. So we saw big A wave. Now, when A wave is the largest, typically B, C, D, E happen much more quicker. As I've proved it in one of the XLM ideas, XLM USD ideas. I'll go back to that in a sec. Right. So B wave happens, C wave's happening. So let's pull apart the C wave again quickly. I did say that this one was a bit different, right? Because when wave one is the smallest, wave 5 tends to be the same length as wave 3. Okay. So as you can see, in this particular case, wave five, I did say will try to be similar in length to wave 3 because of where the wave 4 ended, right? And as you can see, has this gotten stronger? No, it's actually gotten weaker. So it's just that particular guideline that has set the tone for why this wave 5 is as long as it is. It's definitely weaker, right? So that's to me, that's why we had the triangle and the thrust out. In this case, it was longer because it was meeting a different kind of pattern guideline, which is similar in length to wave 3. Still a 5-wave move, just a different length of wave 5. And I've said that the whole way through, right? I've said that the whole way through. So that looks to me now like it's bottoming out, right? That does not in any way to me look like it's about to go further because it cannot go below that line down there, right? So this is key here. This is key. Okay. So I suppose what else can be said about that? Not much, right? Apart from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is in progress. We will see another little dip down while you go ahead and you measure wave 3 and compare it to wave 5 and you'll find out. Okay. Now that's on the Bittrex chart. If you go to the Binance chart, right? It's the same deal. It's the same deal, right? And it's just about measuring those waves. It doesn't need to be as long, but it's definitely weaker, right? And if you pull out the RSI, the RSI never made a new low. it might have touched it, but that was a wave 3. But then now look what happened. It's just bounced back up. So that's wave 5 price action happening. To me, this thing's a wave C, right? If you understand what I'm saying, there's multiple charts to explain my theories here. This is not just one chart, okay? Not just using XLM USD. No, we're using XLM BTC, right? It's also showing the pattern in Satoshis, right? So there's so much evidence here that I don't have a problem going long on XLM, and I don't have a problem with BTC falling further, because it's all about the waves. Now, just because you haven't seen it before doesn't mean it's not going to happen, right? You can't use the past to predict the future unless you know RS wave. Okay, if you don't know RS wave, you're basically just like your typical economist who extrapolates. An extrapolation is basically thinking that the past is going to keep happening. Now, in the long-term scheme of things, that might be true, but when you're dealing with short-term patterns in a corrective environment, certain things don't make sense because it's a bear market, it's a correction. Is every correction the same? No. Are we in the same wave on every pattern, on every chart? No. We're just using logic here, and you're seeing it unfold. I post all the time. Last couple of days, I've been waiting to see what that wave 4 was doing, and today is the day, right? We're seeing some action, and now I'm going to switch back to the XLM USD chart. So I don't feel the rush. I don't feel the FOMO, right? I don't feel like you have to be looking at the chart every 5 seconds. Just set up a little alarm to tell you when it's time. Or I suppose in this case, I have members who also track this, so they do ask me questions. So I am always quite aware of what the chart is doing. So welcome, Carbington. Welcome, Pete. Welcome to the live stream, guys. Or gals. Not too sure who's who these days with these interesting names. They're all interesting names to me. But everyone's unique, and so is RS Wave. RS Wave be very unique, right? It's not Elliott Wave, right? Elliott Wave is basically like Duplo compared to like Lego Technic, right? That's the difference here. We're dealing with much more precision and a much more mechanical and very structural approach to understanding the waves. So no guesswork here, just good interpretations are required, because bad interpretations can throw you off, and they will throw you off. There's certain waves that give it away, right? With Elliott Wave, right? What's the correction in Elliott Wave? ABC. They get away with that stuff all the time, right? But time and time and again, I have tried to use that methodology in my early days and failed basically 99% of the time. That 1% is not enough, right? I need something that I can track daily, make sense of it, understand it, provide updates, teach people to see these things using other tools as backup, but it's mainly the waves that are the core of this stuff, right? So we are ready for the moon. That's right. And we just need to make that low. We need to crack that low, just make a little bit of a correction. So crack the low, make a bit of a correction for wave 4, and then hit that C wave target, and then basically expect a move to go straight like that. Okay, if we don't see something like that happen, well, we will reevaluate, but that's what is expected to happen, right? I expect nothing less than the best from my analysis. Otherwise, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Right? I question myself every day, especially in the early days. Are you right? Are you right? Is your method right? My method's right. I'm wrong. Right? RS wave is right. You're wrong. You looked at it wrong. Right? So I kept telling myself, because a lot of people, what they do, and this is something that happens a lot of the time, is some people will find a good strategy and it'll work for them a little bit, and then they'll give up on it. Right? So I created my own strategy and I trusted in it so much that I just kept saying, look, it's not the strategy. You've figured that out. It's you. You're the one who's not seeing the waves the way that you should be seeing them. Maybe you should work harder. Maybe you should study harder. Right? So that's why, to me, this is just like another update and another turning point. And then we're going to go for the rest of the pattern, right? We're following a set of rules, a set of guidelines, and we have a general understanding. Once we get past this point, right, I can tell you something. It's going to be an eye opener, and it's going to basically change a lot of people's perspectives on how these things work. Okay, because it's bloody intriguing, and only once you understand what it is do you actually really get intrigued. Until then, you just think, okay, well, this could go down with Bitcoin. Well, I've just explained why that's probably not going to happen. So, it's up to you. It's up to you to teach yourself to learn a few things. And if you can do that, you'd be doing yourself a great big favor. Because if you haven't been making money, then obviously you're doing something wrong, right? So that's why we're here. And we're here to show you that. Well, I'm here to show you that. And there are a lot of my members who are also tracking this using RSWave. So thank you, Ecolo. Thank you, FS Truth. Appreciate it. So we are ready to go buy, says Ecolo. Buy and hold, yes. Well, to me, what I'm doing is I'm just buying at the low, which is on the USDT chart. It's just whatever's the new low below the May low, right? So in this case, let's go to the 15-minute chart. Okay. So the last low made on the XLM chart and the XLM USDT chart it's around, on the USDT chart, it's 27,335. Okay. On this one, it's probably like a little bit lower, like 27,273. But I don't care about a few cents, right? Because I know what I'm doing with RSWave. I understand what I'm doing with RSWave. It's as simple as that, right? So yeah, I wouldn't, if you want to go buy lower than that, well, you can try and measure the A wave and just, get a bit lower there. But, you're either going to be buying and being scared, buying and feeling, worried, or you're going to be buying because you know what the hell's going on, right? Because you're buying because you know what the chart's telling you, based on RSWave, right? And now I say it time and time and again, a lot of my ideas and videos, they're all geared towards my members because they understand this more than just your regular person, right? Now it's okay to follow me, and then you can see, he was right there, he was right there, he was right there. He's making an interesting call on wave 4 here, and he's calling a low at the end of this move. In hindsight, people will see that stuff and then they're going to make up their own mind, right? So it's that divergence between Bitcoin and XLM that's going to be the real eye opener, in my opinion. I reckon that's the one. That's where we are now. We're almost at that point where we're going to see that kind of stuff happen. But as always, I have to, I I could try to come up with an alternate count, but unfortunately, this particular wave here doesn't look like a zigzag, a traditional RS wave zigzag to me. So given that it's already overthrown out of this wedge, to me, there's no more room unless this bounces in what could be potentially, maybe, possibly, right? Very unlikely, right? An A-B pattern, right? Where we get a C, a D, an E, and then a 5, right? So if we see that kind of behavior occur, it doesn't really matter to me because it's still around the same price, except you're going to freak the hell out. Excuse me for a sec. Sorry about that. Just had to deal with something there. So Matt been accumulating since 2017. Good on you, Matt. It's good to know the waves. That way you can basically scale in and scale out at the right time, and understand when we're coming to the end of a certain pattern, that sort of thing. You don't want to hold on to something that goes up and down too much, because it just basically affects your psychology, and you really don't know how to build on what you have. You sort of just keep going up and down. But some people will just keep holding for the long run. But I think there's a better approach, and that's basically, the waves, etc. So just give me one sec. Yeah, so we seem to have touched that low on this particular chart. If we go to XLM USDT, we haven't quite made the low yet. So it hasn't triggered a buy on Binance if you're using that. So at the moment, nothing yet. So we're still around that area. So depending on what platform you use, what chart you're looking at, you're going to have a different, slightly different price on each chart. So So at this point in time, it's just and there's a little hammer forming there, but that doesn't mean anything really at this point. The pattern's incomplete. So I'm not saying this can't take any longer, but at the end of the day, even if I don't continue this live stream for, you know, the whole way through, I might have a short break in a minute, just to take a small break. But let's check it out here. Should we buy now? I heard 20 cents, 27 cents is a buy price. Look, it doesn't really matter if you buy now or if you have a buy order that trips you in, triggers you in. You can just buy now. But to me, I just like the order to do the work for me. Like, I don't want to, like, that's why I put the order on, because I trust the order will work. But yeah, if you're doing a manual buy, that's up to you, totally up to you. What can I say? You know, it depends on your level of confidence on the analysis, on what you're buying. At the moment, use case, to be honest with you, use case is not the main driver of these markets at the moment, because we are in a bear market until we end wave E, which is not, we haven't even finished wave D yet, right? If you look at the Dow Jones, that's still in a wave D. Has the Dow Jones still got further to fall? Further to go higher? Absolutely. We're looking at minimum 40,000 on the Dow. So we're going to see a lot of these things sort of happen, you know, around the same time on some charts. On some charts, they will just basically perform very poorly. We're just trying to stick, like, I did my research to cover this chart the way I do, which is why I cover it the way I do. So it's just, yeah, it depends on what your knowledge is like. Do you trust it? Are you just going based off someone else's opinion? You know, it's all right to follow. If you've been following for a while, you'll know more about my analysis. If you're new to it, if you're new to the channel, then it's different. You know, you should be careful and watch some videos first. Maybe try scaling in or something. It's totally up to you. I'm not a financial advisor, first and foremost, I have to say that. But I just use Arius Wave and I try to teach people how to use it. They can do their own back testing, and basically I show it on here because I know that even if I show it, it's going to show you the result, but it's not really going to teach you the exact pattern and explain all the details. And I have to mention now, it's 50% off until the end of June, in case you do want to learn it. After that, it just goes back to its usual price. So if you want to know more on that, ariuswave.com on the learn page. So Ecolo asks about the Dow Jones. If you would have seen my previous ideas, I have had a few of them in the past that have basically got you long, explain the pattern. We can have a quick look now if you like, just whilst we're waiting for things here to happen. What I believe is happening now in the Dow Jones, just wave E. Okay. So this wave D, this wave E. So this particular idea did come with a caveat, right? That we could be seeing D wave. So basically, this is null because I did actually get us in down here. Was it down here? Yeah, down at 30, about 30, at that green line. Right, I did get us long at the green line, and then about when we got to about this area, I adjusted the count. So basically, it's like a wave 1 and 2. What I believe is happening now is simply put just wave 2, right? So this area where it is now, right? So the end of wave 1, right around here. So that's already gone oversold, by the way, if you have a look. So this is D wave. So basically with the Dow Jones, sorry, don't know why. Oh, I haven't looked at this chart for a while, so I have for some reason my labels have doubled up a bit. Don't know why that happens sometimes. I'll just try and get rid of some of these. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, so basically, so yeah, we have wave 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we have alternation going on there. So I expect wave E to terminate right around here. And we already got you in long here, which was the end of wave. Down here, end of wave 2. So if you're holding on since that time, you may be freaking out because it's coming down. However, you can't go below the start of wave 1, the green wave 1, right? So we have A, B, C, D, E. This is an E wave now, which is interesting because once this E wave completes around this area, I believe we're at this intersection point here where there's support. It's basically a case of resistance becoming support. I believe this one's going to continue higher. But the whole point is that since we were down here, we're meant to be going long. We were long from down here, and our target was initially 37,000, but I believe it's a minimum 40,000, right? Because this is an A wave, a C wave, right? So when I say C wave, it's part of a larger D wave, right? So let me just zoom out a bit in a sec to show you that. So we are zoomed out, sorry. So basically what's going on here is wave 1 ended in 2018. We had an A, B, C was Corona wave, C for Corona, D for, I don't know what you want to, Delta strain or something. Basically, what we're seeing now is basically the same pattern as what happened before the GFC. Once we see the D wave complete, which should have similar length from the end of the B wave, which was down here. Hang on, sorry. Yeah, down here. Right, the A wave here, sharp, right? A, B, expanded type 2 zigzag. Should see a similar length as wave A, but it doesn't mean it can't be longer due to obviously mania bubble, right? Mania bubble. So at the moment, we're in a 1-2-1-2, and it's definitely looking weaker. But I don't believe this pattern is over yet. We haven't seen that move yet. So we also haven't seen the US dollar bottom yet. If you take a look at the DXY quickly, right? It's still in a wave 4. So this move is just part of wave 4 correction, right? If you look at the bullish series, you'll understand what I mean. Okay, the reason why the Dow is crashing is because, or that E wave is happening, is because we're seeing an E wave in the US dollar, right? And it's part of wave 4. So basically, we have wave 1. Sorry, one sec. So this is on the bullish series too. If you check that out on my on my website, I explain all this sort of stuff. Just making a quick count here to just to illustrate what's happening with the US dollar. Has it bottomed yet? No, it hasn't. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is finishing up now, and then we're going to see a 5. Now, what kind of 5 are we going to see? That's going to be interesting. Will it be an ending diagonal? I think it will be. I think that wave 5 is going to be an ending diagonal in this move, but I don't think that this has bottomed yet. It's just hit resist. It's just hit support from the previous move. But yeah, I don't think it's as long yet as the C wave, which a CDE pattern tends to be. It hasn't reached that length yet. So to me, it's that bottom of that channel that it will probably end up being where it terminates. But it's interesting to see, though, how the Dow Jones reacts to the US dollar, because what's coming next in the US dollar is actually going to be the E wave once this D wave ends, which will basically be like GFC 2.0. Okay. So that's another part of my bullish series on my website, and I'm going to be updating that in the coming months because I believe that's critical to the whole thing. It explains a lot of what's going on. So yeah, my time is limited at the moment, so that one's only been recent. Just trying to do what I can at the moment. The Dow, yeah, I just explained the Dow Jones to you there. So to me, it's just part of the pattern. It's going to go to 40K, I reckon. Yep. Pete, buy. You can buy now if you want. I'm buying at 27,335 on the USDT, XLM USDT chart, which hasn't quite happened yet. So if you look at the XLM USDT, I'll go back to this once again, right? And then I'm just going to have a quick break, right? If you guys want to hang around, that's cool. So basically, if you have a look here, the last low was the B wave. So it has to make one low above, has to make one low below. We're almost there. Like if you're using Binance, I'm using Binance. I have a limit order to buy at that exact low. And that's fine because I can see that the pattern hasn't completed yet. It's not complete yet, right? So not only does it have to make a new low, it also has to complete the 5-wave move within that pattern, right? So yeah, you can buy it now. It's only what? It's basically at 27 cents on the chart anyway. So to me, it's about principle, right? It's not about, oh, we're close, we can just go into it. No, I programmed the thing because we have a methodology, right? So we have to see the break. It'll trick me in. We can keep covering this, But to me, it's just about the knowledge. It's about the principle of the matter. Am I in it now? No. When it hits that line, I'll be in, right? 27,335 on the Binance chart, right? So that's the answer to that. But yeah, if you want to buy now, what's stopping you? Nothing's stopping you. But the thing is, do you have the peace of mind? Do you have the confidence? You'll either be following me or learning the waves or both, right? If you learn the waves and follow me at the same time, you're going to have this synergy, which is what my members have, right? That's the key to this thing, right? You need to have that synergy because my ideas are labeled specifically in a color coded way, which the members will understand. But most people will wonder why are the waves color coded the way that they are? Why is wave A always green and why is B wave always orange and so forth, so on and so forth, right? There's a method behind it, right? So yeah, so we're heading there. Don't worry, we're going to get there shortly. Just a bit of patience. Um, we'll continue this. We'll continue to see this unfold because it's a pretty cool thing to see, right? So USD going down further, yes, it is. It's only in a wave 4. And you know what? If USD wasn't going down, wasn't going to go down further, if this was the bottom of the USD, well, I believe that the Dow Jones is basically on its way down, but it's not going to happen yet. Okay. And that's the whole reason why I created the bullish series, right? So if you watch that, you'll understand that all these markets are joined at the hip. Okay. They're all connected together, right? They all affect each other and they all cause each other to go through the patterns that they go through, right? That's the whole point of what I do. Okay. That is the exact point of what I do, is to understand how every market interrelates to one another and how you can basically understand that by learning the waves and then watching the bullish series. You'll have a different perspective. And I believe I've just hit a buy signal there. So that's officially a buy signal because it hit that line on XLM USD. So it was just a little alert there. So to me, I wouldn't be surprised if people get tripped in any moment now. So yeah, so right, look, guys, I'm going to take a quick 5 minute, right? So please bear with me. I'll be 5 minutes and I'll be right back in 5 minutes. Let me just make a note of this. All right, guys, back in. All right. Not quite, Jason, but welcome. All right. So basically, I got triggered in on the USDT chart there. Let's have a quick look. XLM, USDT. On the hourly, it was triggered. So I'm in now. All my USDT is now in XLM. So that's basically that move there. Now let's go back to the XLM USD. All right, let's count some waves. Now, once we hit our target, right, we're gonna get some big buy orders happening here. So we're gonna have to see a good bounce. Now, this pattern may be complete potentially, or it may still be in the process of completing. So let's have a closer look at what we think is going on here. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we could see one more low there. Oops, 1 sec. So yeah, basically it's made a new low. Now that particular C wave there, that wasn't measured. Let me measure this now so we can get a more accurate target. Okay, so that's the accurate sort of more accurate target than what I had in there is 26,876. But like I said to you, what's the difference? There may be another low. I do believe it will go down a bit lower. It's just probably coming back to retest in wave. I'll tell you what it is. Yeah. Yeah, that might have bottomed potentially, right? We might see the bounce back now if that count is correct. It's not always easy to determine at such a small degree, depending on depending on this bounce. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't make much difference if it's just a few cents, as long as you followed the point of this whole thing was we needed to make that new low for wave 5, right? Now, let's use some RSI on this particular. Yeah, so we could see here that wave 3 was definitely the sharpest wave down, right? It was definitely the sharpest move down in this particular move here. So the rest of it is wave 4 and 5. Could potentially make one more low, but like I said, smaller degree waves, they're much harder to digest, except when you go to a 30-second chart. If you go to the 30-second chart, that might give us a bit more clues. Hang on. Yeah. Don't be surprised if we see this is an A, B, C, D, E low. Don't be surprised if that happens. Yeah, so like I said, it's not as easy to see every wave at such a small degree, but you get the gist of it, right? You understand what I'm on about. So to me, it's understanding what this pattern is in the first place, right? And what it means. So Corda does look like a Christian Bale. Yeah, are you like trading the bat pattern or something? Are you into a bit of Gartley as well? So what is the next move? Well, if you want to know, I've told you a million times, and I'm going to tell you a million more times until it really sets in. Now, it's not going to be easy to do on this chart, so let's go to the STR USDT chart. Right, that's the one that's also made the low there. Let's check out the RSI on this chart. Yeah, you can see the divergence going on there. So basically, we've got to zoom out to the daily. Okay, so this is part of a D wave. So you got the cup and handle pattern basically coming in. Now, in terms of timing, do not bother asking me when. I do not have a crystal ball. I just read waves as they happen, and I know how to react to them. Okay, so depending on where so to answer your question, right, Pete, we need to see a 3-wave move up, break the highs, right, in three waves, right, A, B, C, and then retest the lows. Most likely this will happen, right? Most likely, because if this doesn't happen, then it's just going to go higher and higher and higher. So, but this is the kind of thing. Now, this is where I get the 160 prediction from, because we need to make a move equivalent to wave A, which was 15,000% roughly. But we need to measure from the end of E, which we have not seen yet. Okay, so that's why we need to be patient and understand that this is a process. Now, wave D, let me tell you something about wave D, right? Is that sometimes it can look impulsive. Okay, so we don't know what this move is going to look like soon. We don't know. We have to wait for confirmation. So that's why, to answer your question in short, we're looking for a D wave. Okay. So let's switch over to the BTC chart and see what's going on there. On the 5-minute. Probably too low, maybe the 15-minute. We haven't got confirmation yet of wave 3 action beginning. Okay. So at this point, yeah, it's too hard to say anything right now. RSI is not always the best tool, especially when you have news events like what happened around here. The RSI went off its head because of certain news that came out. Does not change the count. It merely makes RSI less accurate due to the news event, if you know what that is, right? Something happened around here in Bitcoin, you know what it is. If you don't know, look it up. XRP, well, XRP, yeah, look, it's a different pattern. That's going to be in a separate idea. Soon I'm going to be going through them all on TradingView as well. I haven't been too thorough with TradingView because I wanted to see this low happen. And then I wanted to basically indicate what to expect next, right? So that's why I've just been also doing a few other things on the side. So back to the low degree, we just want to hit that target. Now, I did say we'd probably come back down due to the waves, and it seems to be happening. We haven't had the same length yet, plus the waves. Yeah, we still could see another zigzag down. Wave 1 and 3 seem to be similar in length. So let's take note of this. Sort of. Wave 5 should be probably short and sharp. So after this pattern completes, I suppose we'll know. But at this point in time, we have been triggered. We're triggered in. Let's watch this play out. And you guys, I think this is probably a point where we should wrap it up, unless you want to wait until we hit that low there. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, BTC down with the shorts, XLM up. Isn't that interesting? Why? Let's go back to the XLM BTC chart. Probably not on the minute. Probably a bit small time frame there. To me, it looks like wave 4. Basically looking like this is in a bottoming process as well. With A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 1, 2. Depending what happens here, could be one more low, could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That type of thing. Not sure, but that sort of thing is incoming as well. Yeah. Kabang, that's right. And that's the sort of thing I'm expecting due to this pattern. Right. So let's go back to the daily for a moment and let's understand the XLM BTC chart for a moment. So, you know, XLM has already seen its weakest part of the pattern against BTC. So now it's about XLM making the moves against BTC's current, against its price action, and they will diverge, right? This will basically go to new highs to complete the pattern, and that's what I'm expecting. So to me, this chart is very important, and especially what we're seeing now, like the thing about the waves is when the A wave is the sharpest and the deepest, the rest of the waves step up and basically head up in the upward direction. That's the kind of insight that RES wave gives you. So to me, we just have to wait and see, okay? There's nothing else to add there. Any questions on that? Because that's an important chart. Now, if you're one of those people who think that you take the widest part of, you know, like the widest part of the triangle, and you know, there are a lot of traders out there that do that. Take the widest part of the triangle and measure the move, then basically that I would say that we are about that close to a bottom on this chart. If you take the length of wave 3, to me, this looks like it's just getting weaker and weaker. So pull out the RSI. The third of a third wave seemed to be the strongest part there. Seeing divergence once again. So it's just all pointing in that direction, right? So, I mean, a lot of people looking at BTC now, I wonder what they're thinking. I really do wonder what they're thinking. I know that there was recently a convention in Miami, which George Gammon says was more like a Burning Man for cryptos, or like a Burning Man for Bitcoin. Basically, that's very interesting. That kind of mania is pretty crazy at the moment. Thanks, Secure Crypto. Thanks, Secure Crypto. Thanks for the compliment there. Thank you, E. coli. When do you think BTC will lose support? Support. Well, look, because Bitcoin is still in a C wave, right? Now, if this is wave one and this is wave two, that means we haven't even seen the strongest part of this move yet, right? So that question itself is very interesting, because that means that we're about to see a stronger move down here than what we've seen up here on wave one. Something's about to happen here, right? And that's interesting, because the all-time high and wave three down incoming, that's going to be interesting to see, right? That's one to keep a close eye on. And that's why I think that it's important to look at charts like XLM versus BTC, because you got to ask yourself this question always. And this goes back to when I was starting off, my ideas weren't around crypto. Like, I'd ask these questions relating to the USD versus the euro. I'd always ask questions like, now, is the euro getting stronger because the euro is getting stronger, or is the US dollar getting weaker? It's that sort of thing, right? And I believe the same thing applies to these charts. And it's the chicken and the egg, right? Which one is getting stronger? Is it XLM getting stronger because of BTC getting weaker? Or, you know, and every chart sort of gives you that clue, especially the ones that are connected with BTC, right? So if you look at, for example, if you look at the XRP against BTC chart, right? Look at this pattern. Just look at it, right? It just doesn't have that same pattern as XLM, right? It doesn't have the three waves up here, right? That's not three waves up. So even if you wanted to consider this move here a three-wave move, right? There hasn't been a three waves up yet for a B. So you want to say, if you want to say that's A, right? There's no B, okay? It doesn't look impulsive. And we all know the XRP chart, to me, I'm bearish on it. So I love XRP. I think it's got great case, you know, utility and use case. But at the same time, I have to make sure that I'm trading according to the methodology, rather than just the use case and that sort of thing, because I don't think that's really going to guide us through this, what's happening. So I don't see that the same pattern there. I see, like, if you look closer at this pattern here down the bottom, right? Say 4 hour. Like, to me, that there is it's just gonna correct and correct and correct. What's this move here? It looks like a 3-wave move. You know, like potentially, yeah. I mean, I just don't see anything that is telling me that this is going to turn around anytime soon. And I think it'll just grind down lower, but it may correct in whatever this pattern is, right? I haven't gone through this chart and labeled it yet, but it's things like this that I need to do very soon, because this is a completely almost sideways pattern, right? From the beginning to now. So to me, it's not as easy to read as the XLM BTC chart, even in the Binance chart, right? To me, this one tells me, it gives me more clues as to what's going on. Well, it's interesting because some people actually try to troll me buying at 34 cents or above. And I think, you know, by now they probably should be trying to understand why or what happened in the process of that decision making. A lot of people just buy based on emotion or what the magic poop cannon guy is telling you or whatever. I don't know what people listen to these days, but to me, damn, we're close. We're so close now. So that's interesting. We did see what appears to be a 3-wave move down, followed by some kind of small degree 5-wave move up. Hang on. I meant to go to the 30-second chart, not the 30-minute chart. Yeah, so this part here, I think, is wave 5. This part here, I think, will touch that low now. And then we need to see a bounce above that area initially, right? We need to see a bounce above this area here once we hit that low, okay? So I think potentially the correction for wave 4 ended there. Right there. Okay. So I think now we're going for that 26,876 area. So this will be interesting to watch now, because it's actually it's that impulsive move that I'm looking for that will help determine the low. So I think that's important. Welcome back, APX Predator. You are the Apex Predator, my friend. XLM is just better than XRP. Well, you know, there's going to come a time when we're going to have to make that choice, and they're all going to be cheap. And if you have profits, just buy both. So here we go. Here we go for that target. Whether we hit it, whether we don't, we need to see a break back up sharp above that magenta line. All right, because once we bottom, we have to see an equal and opposite reaction, right? Because impulsive moves are impulsive moves, right? You have to see them impulsive down, impulsive up. If you're going to be calling any kind of move or any kind of reversal, you need to be doing it in a way that is actually, you know, it has certain criteria that has to be met, certain levels that have to be broken. So at this point, we have to see a sharp turnaround to break back up above that last high. So whether we're seeing a small, really small degree wave 4 right now, all right, we're on the 5-second chart here. I think this is a small degree wave 4. Just going around that area now. Need to touch that green line. And then wait for the bounce. Oh, there we go. Didn't like that green line very much, did it? Yeah. Well, Yasin, that's yet to be seen. Okay. That's yet to be seen. You can, I think it's all coming down, and you're right. Okay. But it's all about timing. Okay. It's all about timing. Okay. It's all about timing. Yes, XLM will come down, but that doesn't mean that it'll go up first and then they'll all come down, because I believe everything's coming down, right? So therefore, so what do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, what you're saying is so general in nature that it's just basically like saying everything's going to crash. And you know what? Everything is going to crash. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point I'm trying to make here. Right? So you saw that bounce, right? This is a 5-second chart. Touched the green line, didn't like it, and started bouncing back up impulsively. Now, what do we need to see? We need to see a break of the magenta line, right? That'll confirm that wave 5 of wave C is over. So let's see what happens, right? So far, you know, we're seeing some pretty impulsive price action. Come back, close that gap, try to come back down, keep going up, right? So really, it's like reading a map. When you turn onto, you know, Hope Street, you better make a right onto Arias Wave Lane and then back onto Reality Street, because hope is not a strategy. Okay, just be careful with that. So interesting that we saw this bounce, because it's what we needed to see. And just taking our time here with this. That's right. Everything is going to crash. That's the whole point. Everything is going to crash. But I found the coin that I felt still had upside potential. I did my research. That's why I cover XLM exclusively over other coins, right? So therefore, you know, it's like choose your destiny, you know? Like where do you want to go? You know? I basically just chose it because I saw the best potential, right? So around here, we're going to see some interesting price action. This is crazy times for XLM because it's doing all sorts of stuff. Look at it. Look at it on the 5-second chart. It's quite comical. We've got some sideways candles at the moment. Now, mind you, this is extra hard to read on a small time frame, right? So that green line was basically a measurement of the same length as wave A. That's all it was. I didn't do anything else, right? So it's just interesting to observe this happening based on a simple measurement, but it's where you take the measurement from that is important. And this is the whole point of why we're expecting the D wave to go where it's going to go, right? It all depends where the D wave goes and where the E wave ends, right? And then you take your measurement, and that's when you get your target, right? So my previous assumptions that we're going to see $160 is based on a type 1 expanded correction, which means the B wave will end at the highs, right? At the all-time highs before it makes its final move up. And that's exactly what I've been showing you during this process, right? Now, basically, we hit our target using that same methodology right now, right? So that's why now all eyes on the chart, because we need to see how this pans out. Now, at the moment, all I can see is a 5-wave move up with a pretty weak sideways price action, right? So to me, this is looking like a corrective part of the 5-wave move, right? So I can see the first initial reaction potentially being a C wave because the B wave expanded to the upside and we had a C wave down. But then you saw a 3-wave up and then a 5-wave down. So to me, if we break any higher than this from this point without going below the green line, I'd expect to see that magenta line broken shortly. So we just need to observe this for a moment to understand. It's such a small time frame. It's not easy to do. But because we're all on here right now, so I'm just trying to, keep it interesting during this low process. Well, you see, that's interesting, Matt. Big Twitter accounts going short. Wow. I mean, are you talking about XLM? Because that's pretty interesting, right? That's like a sentiment indicator, right? If you look at like, what is it? Bit slow. Strong sell. Here we go. TradingView is telling you that XLM is a strong sell. Twitter is telling you that it's a strong sell. Very interesting indeed. Very interesting indeed. Right? Now, is the crowd mostly wrong usually? Yeah, usually they are. No worries, Jose. I want to see this magenta line broken. I want to see how it breaks it. I want to see what comes after. I'm just a bit curious here to do this live. At least a break of the magenta line for now would be interesting, because, you know, yeah, well, is that a 1-2-1-2 pattern? It's very interesting how it's a strong sell apparently. No, it's not a 1-2-1-2 pattern. Nope. Could have been a 1A, break the low, and we change the count. But I just want to see how it reacts with that green line. That's the part that interests me the most. Exactly, Gabriel, welcome. That's right. It only does, I mean, it's, I mean, you should just use the opposite. I mean, you shouldn't even use it at all, really. But I mean, to me, I always look at it and I'm always wondering why it's doing that. And God knows what they're using to make those assumptions. But see how it's reacting to that green line? To me, I find that totally intriguing because that's the measurement, that's the same measurement as wave A. I mean, look at these moves on the 5-second chart. Look, just observe those moves. Like, it just does not like that area because it's the same length as wave A. It's amazing. This is totally intriguing. Yeah, that chart, I don't know about that chart, to be honest. To use in real time, no, we're not looking at gold. Okay, so if you go back to the minute chart, we're still around the green line. All right, so I can see candles getting weaker there. Just basically losing strength around that green line. So potentially wave 4 might have ended there, expanded wave 4, because wave 2 was pretty sharp. Wave 2 was very sharp. So to me, that explains the expanded nature of this particular wave 4. So maybe one more low. This could be wave 5 here. So that could be wave E. And that could be wave 5 there. So see a strong move in the middle there. Wave 3. Now this is very small time frame, guys, so a bit difficult to judge these moves. They are pretty small. So I did see a sharp wave 3, so that could be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, very interesting patterns indeed. What plans do I have next after XLM explodes? We're basically going to start putting a lot more effort into everything, all the other markets that I usually analyze. I'm just going to go through them all again, just to revise those ideas, just to sort of like, I want to make a bullish series 2.0, right? So to me, it's about just sort of like reaffirming the perspective that that we're seeing across the board, reaffirming everything. I will choose a select set of coins to cover more regularly, I suppose, because once we start to see a move up in XLM, it's just going to be a 5-wave move, right? And that's going to basically be straightforward, because we know we're looking for a D wave. So I suppose it's just a matter of using that time to not report as often on something that we know, like still going to be regular, but it's going to be more, you know, straightforward, because it's bullish, right? It's a bull market rally that we're looking at. So everything's in the bull market rally, right? But we want to try and understand exactly where in the bull market rally we are. So it will take a bit. Actually, it won't take much. It won't take much time at all, really, because the groundwork is already laid. It's just a matter of sort of updating you on the progress of those original ideas, especially in the bullish series. Maybe touching back on the TRX XRP pair a bit more, and you know, in terms of analysis, if that's what you're talking about. In terms of anything else, well, I just love the waves, so I'll just keep working on that. All right. So we have we have a morning, sorry, yeah, a morning star candle pattern on the 5-minute chart. So that's basically when you have like a spinning top, a bullish candle. It's a morning star, and these are only important at certain levels, right? They only mean something at certain levels. So the interesting thing about candles is that they are good, but they're not always good. You need to use them at certain levels, right? So in this particular case, you can see that, you know, you had that confirming candle, and then going straight back out to the 5-minute chart, you can just see it already starting to turn. So we did break what is assumed to be the first part, but at the end of the day, it's just going to be like, the more further up we go, the more confirmation that we're going to have to see in that. But just to see that kind of reaction from the green line there, it's just it's very interesting. Like, we need to see further upside, obviously, but when you start to see that kind of thing, you need to see more upside. You need to see the last high broken. You need to see, you know, basically what the end of, well, that actually, if that's the end of wave 4, then technically that's a confirmation, right? The next confirmation would be at a break of the B wave, right? So that's obviously back up at 29 cents. From that point on, you'd be looking at the break of wave 4, which is about 30 cents. After that, you'd be looking at the break of 36 cents. These are all confirmation points, right? Because you're basically going back and breaking above the start of a 5-wave move, even though we consider this to be, wave 5 of an ending diagonal. Sorry, wave 5 of a wave C, which was an ending diagonal in wave 5. We still need to see that confirmation that is going up impulsively, and calling a bottom is one thing, but knowing what you're doing is another, right? I mean, they're both one and the same thing, right? Like the more previous highs you break, the more you get closer to those levels that I'm talking about. And it has to be in an impulsive manner. It has to be like, okay, this pattern's done. There's no more time for this. Now we've finished wave C, and now we need to make a move, right? So the point here was wave 1 and 3 were similar in length. So wave 5 was short and sharp. Okay, fair enough. But that's a pretty small degree move, all right? So typically I don't report on such small degree moves, but I just want to highlight, sort of the waves do teach, they do have a lot to tell you if you just observe them through the Arias wave perspective, right? So that's pretty cool. Yeah, so I mean, that's the sort of thing I wanted to see happen at the green line. So initially we had a little bounce, but then we worked out that potentially could have been the end of wave 4 of this whole move down in wave C. And then that little tiny little thing down the bottom here was wave 5. I mean that rule applies when wave 1 and 3 are similar in length. Wave 5 is short and sharp. Well, if you ask me, that's pretty short and sharp, especially if you start to get this sort of movement now. Is a bounce. So I mean, it's not like I'm pulling out oscillators and MACDs and all sorts of stuff, right? Like I do look at that stuff just to confirm wave 3s and stuff, but typically it's not the crux. Like indicators are not the crux of Arias wave. It's just simple patterns. The real pattern, not the Elliott wave subjective types. It's more like the real pattern itself. So it's stuff like this that confirms for me that yeah, this is turning around now. It's sort of gonna have to prove itself more, right? So you guys are getting what I'm saying, right? Yeah, please hit the thumbs up. We did hit the green line, and now we are seeing a turnaround. We looked at the 5-second chart for Christ's sakes, and we're seeing a bounce now. So thank you for suggesting that, Gabriel. Muchas gracias. So if you want to go to the 15-minute chart, we're starting to see the same thing. It's producing the same morning star pattern, right? So obviously we need to see in 7 minutes, this candle needs to be bigger than the previous candle, which it already is. We've got a doji down the bottom here, which is what is a pretty good sign that this is a reversal pattern, especially at an important level like the one we discussed earlier. The doji and the bullish candle, even with another candle after that confirming, should be a pretty good confirmation of a morning star reversal candle pattern. And then you'll just, you can go to the 1 hour later and the 4 hour, and you're going to see all sorts of stuff. By the way, I started off learning not just Elliott wave. Like I loved the candles in the beginning. I studied Steve Nissen's work. He taught me a lot of good stuff in the beginning, which really got me intrigued. Elliott wave just sort of opened my eyes up to, like, it just opened the door to possibilities, right? And then it just became about finding that pattern for me, right? Because I knew there was a pattern. I could see it everywhere. Like, I just couldn't put it together, but I had to draw it out on paper, as I've said many times. I've had to, I basically just, I put it on the page, and then it just took so much, thinking, and then eventually it all just sort of just started making sense, right? So that's what the program basically is all about. It's about making sense of the waves, literally, in their literal form, not a subjective kind of way, but the literal form that they take every time. Somebody applauded me last live stream for mentioning the Mandelbrot set, but it's the same thing, except we're dealing in a linear pattern. This is a linear version of fractal patterns, right? So it's a bit different, but it's the same sort of thinking, right? That at large degree, it's the same at a smaller degree, right? But you got to figure out, you got to visualize what that means, right? What that means when you're looking at the grand scheme of things. That's why it takes a lot of practice and back testing. I give you all my support, right? Because I was there. I was in the same place you are. Don't know what the waves do. What do they mean? Why does this do this? Why does this do that? What comes after this pattern? What was before that? What's after that? What comes next? What's this part of what's the bigger picture? What's that bigger picture? See, that's why I did the bullish series, as I try to introduce myself after discovering cryptos, right? And I believe that I have a lot to offer to cryptos, people who follow cryptos, because it's all the same pattern. Oil, interest rates, Dow Jones, precious metals, XLM, Bitcoin, it's all the same thing. It's just we're in different stages of the pattern, right? So once you learn the pattern and how to apply it, it's pretty straightforward, really. Like, I mean, I just called that green line a bottom. I mean, now we're going to have to wait and see. Will it break the magenta line? It's going to prove itself. I don't have to sit here and say, oh, this works. Yeah, this is great. No, it's going to prove itself. That's the whole point. That's why I do video updates often, so you can go back and you can see for yourself, is it true? Because a lot of people talk a lot of stuff online, and it's hard to make a name for yourself when you're just saying, oh, this works better than this works better than that. It's more about just, hey, how about you just observe, take the time to observe that, this particular thing seems to be pretty consistent. And when it is wrong, there's a reason why it's wrong, and it's the interpretation of that pattern, right? And like I've made mistakes even during this live stream. I've made a couple of mistakes, right? But that's because we're going down to the small degree, right? That's pretty hard stuff to do, okay? But once you sort of get it, it becomes second nature, right? It's like riding a bike. It's like, it's just like, you build a tolerance to certain things, right? And one of them is impatience, right? You can't be impatient, but when you know what the waves are sort of trying to do, you become more patient, right? And that's where the psychology aspect comes into it, right? A lot of people say, oh, you've got to have good psychology to be a trader. But the thing is, though, But if you don't have good knowledge on how it works, then how can you have good psychology? Your psychology will be battered every time you lose, right? That's why I didn't understand the psychology part in the beginning. So that's why I include a little bit on that on my program, is because you need the knowledge to have the psychology. You can't have one without the other. Oh, I'm just a positive person. I'm going to make money in the markets. Okay, is that good psychology, or is that just positivity, right? That's the difference between, you know, there's a big difference between those two, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, thank you for that, Jose. Jose, 20 million XLM transferred from Bittrex to unknown wallet. Well, I would probably say it's Jed McCaleb's Taco Stand wallet 2.0, perhaps, maybe, could be. So anyway, let's just go. We're about to close on this 15-minute candle here, and then I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Just wanted to give you that morning star reversal signal at an important level, closing off, just to end it off here, just to prove a point. Is that's just it's just the candles are cool too, you know, but you can't use them all the time. Like a lot of times, people try to use the candles in the wrong spot. Like, you know, you have to use them at important levels to actually for them to mean anything. Otherwise, it's just it doesn't work. So we've just seen a close of that. Now, another candle above that would be great, but for now, you know, we've seen that turnaround jump shot, and we have the 3 rising soldiers. Actually, there's a mini soldier. Let's just call him the sidekick. But we have 3 rising soldiers, which is a bullish pattern as well. At the end of the day, we just have to wait a little bit longer. You know, let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. But for the point of this live stream, that's a reversal pattern there, and it's also the completion of the C wave, of the V wave, of wave 5, of an ending type 1 ending diagonal for wave C since the highs, right? Since the top, since 16th of May to 20th of June, just over a month. Yeah, so I think that's probably going to have to be it for now. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening, a good morning, and good night, wherever you are. And I'll talk to you soon. Hope you had fun on this one. And I got triggered in. I hope you got triggered in too, to buy XLM. And that's not investment advice. That's just what I did. You can, you know, this is just advice. Do whatever you want. But I hope to see you guys soon anyway. Take care.